Greetings viewers, and welcome to this video in which we will investigate the dark side of the Force within the world of Star Wars. Today, we'll go through every Jedi who has succumbed to this malevolent dark side. The Jedi were regarded across the galaxy as the keepers of peace and justice, yet even the strongest may well be lured by the dark side. Many Jedi have turned to the dark side all through the Star Wars saga, falling to the temptation of authority and dominance. The journey of the Jedi is fraught with periods of temptation and redemption, from Anakin Skywalker's descent to Darth Vader, and many more tragedies of Jedi abandoning the Order, including current developments. Join us as we discuss these wayward Jedi and their path into darkness. We'll look at everything from their inner anguish to the influence their actions had on the course of the Star Wars saga. So, fetch your lightsabers and join us as we explore this list of Jedi who have succumbed to the dark side. Before we get into things, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Ben Solo. Ben Solo, a talented and skilled Force-sensitive human man, fell into the shadows and became Kylo Ren, the famed Jedi killer and commander of the Knights of Ren. He unleashed terror throughout the galaxy as the supreme leader of the First Order until a spark of light rekindled his conscience, and he returned to the way of redemption. Ben was the son of two great New Republic heroes, Princess Leia Organa and General Han Solo, and he was born during the last days of the Galactic Civil War. He inherited the connection to the Force of his maternal uncle, the renowned Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, and bore the weight of the Skywalker lineage on his shoulders. Ben's potential for incredible Force capabilities made him prey to the same evil that possessed his grandpa, Anakin Skywalker, and transformed him into the infamous Sith Lord Darth Vader. Through his construct, Supreme Leader Snoke, the malevolent Darth Sidious twisted Ben's doubts and vulnerabilities, luring him down a road of darkness. Irrespective of his terrible destiny, Ben's tale is an important reminder that sometimes the strong can fall, but salvation is always possible for those who seek it.
You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker, a human male with an unrivaled link to the Force, was a revered Jedi Knight in the Galactic Republic and also the one foretold to bring order to the Force. From a young age, he was known as Annie and earned the moniker Hero with No Fear for his courage during the Clone Wars. Skywalker's trajectory, however, developed into something sinister when he fell to the dark side's temptation and then turned into Darth Vader, a Sith Lord working under the ruthless Darth Sidious. His transition into the epitome of evil stunned the universe, and his title became associated with oppression and dread. Despite his descent from glory, Anakin Skywalker's tale serves as a warning that even the mightiest men may stumble and lose their path. His terrible story provides an important lesson about the risks of unbridled authority, as well as the need to stick to one's convictions and principles.
Taron Malicos, former Jedi.
Taron Malicos. Taron Malicos was a revered Jedi Master who distinguished himself as a Jedi commander during the events of the Clone Wars. His fate, however, took a terrible turn during the turbulent happenings of Order 66 around 19 BBY. Malicos took sanctuary on the isolated planet of Dathomir after narrowly evading a strike by his clone troops. He stumbled into a band of formidable combatants dubbed as the Night Brothers, commanded by a vicious warrior named Viscus. Malicos, despite his best efforts, was finally overpowered by the evil side of the Force and started manipulating the Night Brothers against one another. He was taken before Viscus after killing one of the Night Brothers' soldiers in a brutal struggle. Malicos was undefeated in a vicious tournament and took control of the Night Brother group. His fall to darkness had left a permanent mark, and his choices continued to have disastrous effects on everyone around him.
Back down.
Count Dooku. During the Clone Wars, Count Dooku, a powerful and skilled Jedi Master, made the choice to quit the Jedi Order to become the commander of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. He was a charismatic leader who was loved and adored by many, but he had fallen to the dark side of the Force and became Darth Tyrannus, a Dark Lord of the Sith, unbeknownst to the Jedi. Dooku's conversion was motivated by his ambition for power and his conviction that the Jedi Order was becoming ineffective and corrupt. The shadowy Darth Sidious recruited him and offered him the power to reshape the galaxy and topple the Republic. Dooku eagerly embraced the dark side, ignorant to the fact that his lord had terrible intentions and was only using him as a puppet in his larger scheme. Dooku got increasingly vicious as the warfare progressed, resorting to terrible tactics for victory. His descent into disgrace served as a warning about the perils of uncontrolled ambition and the tempting allure of the dark side. Dooku eventually succumbed to the consequences of his rash decisions, and his legacy remains as a warning of the awful cost of yielding to the dark side.
Through victory, my chains are broken.
Revan's talents were well regarded, and he soon found himself on the front line of the Mandalorian Wars. As he got older, Revan developed an insatiable need for knowledge. He set off on a trip to discover the vast, undiscovered areas of space, motivated by this passion. It was here that he and his trusty friend Malak discovered the Sith, an old and powerful civilization. Revan was instantly captivated by the Sith's mysteries and became a disciple of their teachings. Revan advanced through the ranks under the guidance of the formidable Sith Emperor Vitiate, and went on to become one of the galaxy's most powerful beings. He assumed a new persona as Darth Revan and rose to become a feared Sith Lord recognized for his mastery of the dark side of the Force.
The pleasure's all mine, my dear Obi-Wan. I've missed you.
Asajj Ventress. Ventress was a lady from the world of Dathomir who was born into a family of force-wielding witches known as the Night Sisters. She was kidnapped as a youngster by the villain Halstead and forced to labor as a slave on the war-torn planet of Ratatak. Ventress was found by Jedi Knight Kai Narek after Halstead was killed by Weequay pirates. She was trained as Narek's Padawan, but he was killed while fighting against pirates. In the Clone Wars, Ventress rose through the ranks of the Separatist droid troops and as a Sith assassin, earning a reputation for cruelty and skill. She frequently clashed with Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker and Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, who had been tasked with stopping her efforts on behalf of the Republic. Darth Sidious eventually became concerned about Ventress's increasing prowess in the Force. He ordered the Confederate leader Dooku to assassinate Ventress as a display of allegiance. The Inquisitorius. The Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, predicted that some Jedi would survive the Great Jedi Purge, which began with Order 66. To guarantee that he had a pool of Force-sensitive operatives at his disposal, he recruited bounty hunter Cad Bane to capture many Jedi younglings. These kids were subjected to slave training and were the foundation of the Inquisitorius, also known as the Imperial Inquisition. The Imperial Inquisitors were entrusted with tracking down any remaining Jedi and other fierce revolutionaries, as well as locating and rescuing Force-sensitive youngsters for Project Harvester. Darth Vader, as Commander-in-Chief, was in charge of the Inquisitors, who were commanded by the Grand Inquisitor and, temporarily, the Third Sister. The Inquisitors were also infamously known and feared as the Red Blades. Quinlan Vos. Quinlan Vos was a man from the world of Kifu who was famous as a Jedi Master. He lived during the Galactic Republic's dying days and was noted for his unusual powers, such as retrocognition, which allowed him to perceive other people's memories through things they had touched. Vos was a skilled tracker who frequently ventured into the criminal underground to execute his tasks. During one of these missions, he encountered Aayla Secura, whom he trained as a Padawan. While the Clone Wars waged on, Vos discovered an unexpected friend in Asajj Ventress, the notorious Darkside assassin. They plotted together to murder Count Dooku, the head of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Unfortunately, their scheme was unsuccessful, and in hopes of discovering Dooku's master, Vos succumbed to the evil side and became the Confederacy's Admiral Enigma. Despite his dark turn, Vos was ultimately redeemed by his affection for Ventress and his dedication to the Jedi Order. He was able to break away from the dark side's grip and rejoin the light, demonstrating that even the most powerful Jedi sometimes fall to the dark side's seduction. Barriss Offee. Barriss Offee was a Jedi Knight from the Mirialan race. She was a Padawan mentored by Jedi Master Luminara Unduli and wielded a blue lightsaber. Offee fought alongside Unduli during the First Battle of Geonosis when the Clone Wars were in full swing. Despite her Jedi Knight training, Offee's interest lay in researching old Jedi teachings rather than combat. Offee became frustrated with the Jedi Order's involvement in the Clone Wars as the conflict progressed. She believed that the Jedi Council's actions were undermining the Jedi Jedi Order's values, leading her to lose trust in her fellow Jedi. Ophi's dissatisfaction drove her to plan a bomb attack on the Jedi Temple in hopes of exposing the Jedi Council's activities and weakening their power. She was later apprehended by Anakin Skywalker, who put her to justice. Ophi spoke at her trial about the Jedi Order's flaws and how it was time to change, but it soon became evident that she had been tainted by the dark side. Despite her descent into the dark side, Ophi's disenchantment with the Jedi Order emphasizes the need to uphold personal beliefs and convictions, even during times of turmoil. Trilla Suduri. During the early rule of the Galactic Empire, the second sister, a female human with Force abilities, was a part of the Inquisitorius. She was once recognized as Trilla Suduri, and she used to be a Jedi Padawan who studied Jedi skills before the ascent of Emperor Palpatine. Suduri was a talented lightsaber duelist with a brilliant mind that allowed her to predict her opponent's movements. Seer Junda, a Jedi Knight, instructed her in the ways of the Force. Suduri and Junda teamed up after the Clone Wars to defend a bunch of Jedi youngsters while fleeing from the newly created Empire. They were ultimately captured and tortured, forcing Suduri to succumb to the dark side of the Force and turn into the second sister. She abandoned her old persona and the Jedi path to become a cruel inquisitor under the direction of the Emperor's right-hand man, Darth Vader. The second sister was notorious for her ruthlessness and delight in torturing her victims. She was likewise ambitious and wished to get Darth Sidious's approval. Her aim was to assassinate all surviving Jedi and entirely destroy the Jedi Order. General Pong Krell. During the Clone Wars, Pong Krell was a formidable Basilisk who acted as a Jedi Master. He was a formidable Jedi General within the Grand Army of the Republic, and he was known as an aggressive combatant who excelled in close quarters battle. He was responsible for the most clone trooper deaths, and his combat record included numerous key wins, making him among the Republic's most accomplished generals. At the Battle of Umbara, however, Krell stealthily turned to the dark side of the Force, fearing that the downfall of the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order was fast approaching. He wished to join the Sith and disrupt the Republic's attempts to capture the Separatist world. Krell briefly took over the command of the 501st Legion from Jedi General Anakin Skywalker and sought to influence the clones into attacking each other. The Legion, assisted by the 212th Assault Battalion, mutinied against Krell and succeeded in capturing him. Clone Captain Rex chose to assassinate Krell for treason after learning of his betrayal during the interrogation. While the soldier Dogma eventually fired the deadly bullet that fatally wounded Krell, the Jedi Master's death was caused by his own treason and hunger for power. Kreia. Kreia, an enigmatic woman, had an obsessive curiosity for the galaxy's mysteries and a natural aptitude for the Force. She ascended to the level of Jedi Master, although her unconventional techniques and teachings sparked debate among her contemporaries. Her pupils, including the famed Revan, participated in the Mandalorian Wars, leading to her expulsion from the Jedi Order. Kreia set out on a voyage to learn more about the Force, which led her to the Treyas Academy, a historic Sith fortress on the planet Malachor 5. She fell to the dark side's alluring pull, and then became Darth Traya, a formidable Sith Lord with a slew of terrifying Force abilities, including the capacity to crush, frighten, and control people with the Force. She was an expert in Force Lightning, Choke, Mind Trick, and Scream, in addition to her ability to disguise herself and travel at breakneck speed. She also displayed resilience to various types of energies. She had the ability to use the Force to tame wild creatures. Eeth Koth. Eeth Koth was a formidable fighter from the Iridonian Zabrak clan who fought as a Jedi during the final years of the Galactic Republic. He had been a respected figure in the Jedi High Council for several years, but his term was cut short just before the Clone Wars ended. While the actual reasons for his departure remained unknown, there were suspicions that Koth had started to adapt the dark side of the Force. During the Jedi Purge that took place after the conclusion of the Clone Wars, Koth eluded his pursuers and continued to develop his link to the Force. Several years later, the famed Sith Lord Darth Vader was ordered to obliterate Koth's existence. Vader was amazed by Koth's Force prowess during their encounter, but his long absence from society had left him susceptible to Vader's techniques. Koth battled valiantly, guided by his impulses rather than Jedi teachings, but in the end, Vader was able to expose his opponent's flaws and impale him. Alia. A Jedi Knight called Alia lived a long time ago, well before the Star Wars films. She was well known across the universe for her exceptional Force abilities and power, and she was held in high regard by her peers. Something happened, however, that prompted Alia to abandon the Jedi way and seek the darkness. As a result, the Jedi Order banished Alia to the isolated world of Dathomir. This planet was a harsh prison colony, and it was hoped that Alia would be reformed during her stay. Unfortunately, things did not proceed as planned. Alia was able to influence the female populace of Dathomir towards her side by using her extraordinary force talents. They formed a new civilization that Alia rose to head, which became renowned as the Rancor Witches. The Rancor Witches developed into a group called the Night Sisters over time. They kept practicing their distinct kind of sorcery, and their impact over Dathomir grew more remarkable with each new year. Even though Alia was gone, her vision was carried on by the strong women who walked in her footsteps. Freedon Nad. A Jedi visionary named Freedon Nad existed in a remote period of the galaxy. He had a natural knack for the Force and was regarded as one of the Order's brightest stars. He got increasingly fascinated with power as he started digging into the intricacies of the Force. His ambition for more power drove him down a perilous road, prompting him to forsake his Jedi Order allegiance and pursue mastery of the dark side. He went to many planets, studying old writings and learning the dark arts, till he met a historic Sith Lord who became his instructor. Nad grew even better at weaponizing the dark side of the Force under the guidance of his new master, ultimately overtaking his Sith teacher in power. He then ventured off on his own, determined to conquer and dominate his own kingdom. He finally made his way to the world of Onderon, where he utilized his sorceress abilities to subdue the populace and establish himself as their emperor. He founded his capital at the metropolis of Iziz, where he reigned for more than a century until dying. Nad's corpse was buried under the Iziz royal palace, but his soul lived on, affecting the universe from beyond the grave. Even though his exploits were immersed in the shadows of the dark side of the Force, he became a hero, with his descendants being respected by the citizens of Onderon for decades to come. Scare Khan. Scare Khan is a Jedi Master who lives on the pages of the galaxy's history. He was a prominent and revered Jedi Order member, recognized for his unflinching devotion to the pursuit of justice and peace throughout the universe. But over time, Khan became dissatisfied with the Order's beliefs and values. He began to believe that the Jedi method of doing things was too limited, and that real power could only be obtained by using the dark side of the Force. With this newfound faith in the dark side's might, Khan abandoned his Jedi Order loyalty and went on a new course as a Dark Lord of the Sith. He intended to establish a new order based on the ideas of power and might above everything else. And so was formed the Brotherhood of Darkness, a clan of Sith warriors that followed Khan's guidance and battled against the Jedi in a long-running struggle. Despite their early triumphs, Khan's rule was turbulent, and at times, his most faithful followers questioned his authority. Yet his story endured as a warning about the risks of pursuing power at any fathomable cost. Exar Kun. Exar Kun was a Dark Lord of the Sith who lived in ancient times. He was previously a Jedi before succumbing to the evil side of the Force and establishing the Sith Empire, alongside another ex-Jedi, Ulic Keldroma. The Keldroma epics recount their adventures circa 4000 BC. Exar Kun is created with designing the double-bladed lightsaber, according to mythology. A criminal mastermind named Dryden Voss formerly had a one-of-a-kind desktop with an obsidian stone as its foundation. This slab was seized from a Sith shrine and contained protection spells and an engraving that proclaimed that it was from a temple honoring the Sith Lord Exar Kun written on it.
There is only passion.
Malak. Once upon a time, there was a man named Alec who came from the world of Quelli in the Outer Rim territories. The Mandalorians invaded his tribe, forcing Alec to leave and seek sanctuary in the Galactic Republic. He was assigned a new surname after the name of his native village while staying there, and he was taught by the Jedi Order in the teachings of the Force. Alec grew into a talented Jedi Knight, earning the moniker Squint among his colleagues. He participated in the Mandalorian Wars with his best buddy Revan and their Jedi group. He also worked hard to find and fight the mysterious Jedi Covenant. To evade imprisonment by the Council, Alec was compelled to adopt the name Malak. Malak rose through the ranks of the military, developing a track record as a courageous fighter who was never scared to go into combat. Malak and Revan eventually defeated the Mandalorians in the last battle at Malachor V. They chased the remaining Mandalorians away into unknown regions. It was here that their fortunes changed for the worse. They found the Sith Emperor in the reconstructed fragments of the historic Sith Empire, and both succumbed to the evil side of the Force under his instruction. Malak rose to the rank of Sith Lord, causing terror across the galaxy. Shared Het. Shared Het, once a bright Jedi Padawan, was filled with rage after seeing his father's murder at the hands of an ex-Jedi assassin. His participation in the Clone Wars further increased his wrath as he witnessed firsthand the damage and devastation caused by the fight. Shared went to his homeworld of Tatooine after learning of the Jedi Order's downfall and the establishment of the Empire, in order to wage a personal war against the new administration. Nevertheless, a clash with Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi banished and isolated Shared. It was then that he came across the truth concerning Anakin Skywalker, his old Clone Wars companion, who turned into the Sith Lord, Darth Vader. Shared became a bounty hunter after feeling guilty for failing to report Anakin's terrible crimes, but fate had other ideas for him, as he was taken captive and tortured by the enigmatic Yuuzhan Vong. After this struggle, Shared embraced the dark side of the Force, declaring himself Dark Lord of the Sith and Dread Lord, adopting the terrifying moniker Darth Krayt. From then on, Darth Krayt would halt at nothing to attain his ultimate goal of absolute galactic dominance. He would bring the world to its knees and reign with an iron grip thanks to his immense force powers and a fearsome army of Sith followers. The Jedi Order, long assumed to be gone, would be his most formidable adversary, but he felt confident in his abilities to destroy them once and for all.
A fallen Jedi Knight named Ulic Qel-Droma taught the Jedi how to withstand the Reaper's effects.
Ulic Qel-Droma. There are legends about a Jedi Knight named Ulic Qel-Droma in the records of Jedi history. His story was believed to be one of sorrow and redemption, a stark reminder about the perils of the dark side of the Force. According to history, Ulic's master was killed by the Krath. Ulic offered to join the Krath and take them down in a bold and unselfish gesture, but he was enticed and ultimately overtaken by the dark side while on his journey. Ulic ruled the Krath for a while, alongside a fallen Jedi named Exar Kun. They were a powerful duo, dreaded by anyone who stood in their way. Yet, as time passed, Ulic began to rethink his decisions and the road he had chosen. He realized he needed to make up for his errors. Ulic rejected the dark side and was cleansed by being cut out of the Force in a massive shift of events. It was a terrible and arduous process, but he realized he had to go through it to set things right. Even though Ulic's deeds had caused enormous pain and devastation, his final redemption demonstrated the strength of the Force's light side. He used a lightsaber with a bright yellow-green blade throughout his tenure as a Jedi, as a mark of his loyalty to the Jedi Order and its values.
Who is there?
Who I am is not the question.
I am Atris, Jedi Master, the last historian of the Jedi, the last of the Jedi.
Atris. Atris was a well-known scholar and Jedi Master who dedicated her life to safeguarding the Order's old knowledge. She believed in the Jedi Order and served on the Jedi Council throughout the turbulent Jedi Civil War and the Mandalorian Wars. Mitra Surik was a brilliant Jedi Knight who ignored the Order's instruction and went into battle with the renegade Jedi Malak and Revan in the Mandalorian Wars. When Atris elected not to accompany Surik into combat, she was torn regarding the Jedi's position in the fight. When she explored deeper into the Sith's research, she gathered a large number of their holocrons. These potent relics fueled her rage and disdain for the Jedi Order. Atris gradually surrendered to the evil side, eventually becoming the new Darth Traya, the Queen of Betrayal. Traya challenged Surik on Telos with the help of her mentor Kreia. Traya was persuaded to abandon the evil side and return to the light by Surik's wisdom and compassion. Atris then stayed at the Jedi Academy, meekly awaiting the new Jedi Council's verdict on her conduct. Phaneus. A Jedi Master by the title of Phaneus of the Umbaran race previously was a man of high repute. His ideals, however, conflicted with traditional Jedi teachings, as he believed that his own will was supreme. Because of his contentious ideology, Phaneus abandoned the Jedi Order to pursue his own road, which eventually led him to take a sinister and self-centered path toward the Sith. In his new role as Darth Ruin, he established himself as a formidable Dark Lord of the Sith who reigned during the start of the Dragulch era in approximately 2000 BBY. Jarek. Jarek became a noteworthy archaeologist within his field right after being schooled by Jocasta Nu, a prominent Jedi archaeologist herself, and he dedicated his life to researching the Jedi's past, especially that of the Sith. Once a brilliant Mira Luca Jedi Master and famous archaeologist, Jarek's life took a terrible turn during the Empire's galactic civil war. Although having reached the level of Jedi Master in the Clone Wars, Jarek was dispatched on a mission to investigate the unknown regions for ancient treasures just as Order 66 was issued, and was therefore oblivious to the carnage that took place during the war. Jarek was approached by the Inquisitorius upon his return, and despite his initial hesitation, eventually joined the dark side of the Force. He quickly rose through the ranks of the Empire's most dreaded Inquisitors. Dasan was a student at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy at Yavin 4, but his conduct was far from ideal. He constantly berated and intimidated his classmates, causing disagreements and tensions. Dasan killed another student in a fit of rage one day, prompting him to forsake the Jedi Order and seek the dark side of the Force. Dasan later joined forces with Lord Hethrir, the head of the Empire Reborn group, which sought to re-establish Imperial control throughout the galaxy. Dasan commanded a group of highly experienced Dark Jedi and Stormtroopers, and launched an attack on Luke's Jedi Academy in an effort to seize control. Nevertheless, he was eventually vanquished by Kyle Katarn, an ex-mercenary Jedi who effectively neutralized the Imperial soldiers and defeated Dasan in a one-on-one fight. Lord Karnus Mur. Karnus Mur was a well-respected Jedi Order member, noted for his expertise and devotion to the light side of the Force, but his desire for power drove him to investigate the dark side of the Force, eventually leading him down the road of evil. During the 100-Year Night, Mur joined forces with a faction of Dark Jedi led by Ajunta Paul and Zozan. They collaborated on several dark experiments, resulting in terrifying monsters such as Leviathans. Mur fought side by side with his fellow Dark Jedi during the Battle of Korbos, but he was one of those who surrendered to Republic troops. Zozan, Paul, and Mur were banished from the Republic and were sent to the isolated planet of Korriban as a result of their deeds. Mur wielded a yellow-bladed proto-saber to demonstrate his great might. Ajunta Paul. Ajunta Paul was a man who lived a long time ago. He was a competent leader and a Force master. However, he was also afflicted by an inner evil. Paul was expelled from both the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order following the 100-Year Darkness. Paul discovered Korriban while looking for a new residence, and here he encountered a dark force, unlike anything he had ever experienced. He was its first master, earning the title Dark Lord of the Sith. The Kasai, the inhabitants of Korriban, thought Paul was the manifestation of Typhogem, the left-handed god. They regarded him and his disciples as gods, and they founded the new Sith Empire together.
That lightsaber, it belongs to me. Come get it.
Marvelous verdict. To conclude, the Jedi Order has had its fair share of individuals who were once virtuous and just, but eventually succumbed to the dark side's temptations. The attraction of authority and dominance has proven too tempting for some to resist, from brave men like Anakin Skywalker to less popular Jedi like Barriss Offee. Several great Jedi have gone to the dark side throughout the Star Wars universe's history, leaving carnage and mayhem in their wake. While all these fallen Jedi were once regarded as heroes, their journey into darkness provides an essential lesson about the consequences of arrogance and the destructive nature of the dark side. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. This has been Corey Whelan for Marvelous Videos. Thanks for watching, be safe out there, and have a marvelous day.
You underestimate my power! Don't try it!